All right, so for those of you who don't know, we are Acid Paranormal. We are a paranormal group out of Southeast Virginia right here. We're still kind of new to it. We've been, something that we've been following most of our lives. I'm Cody. My wife Amanda, this is Pam. Both investigators, our other 3 investigators aren't with us today. But I've seen stuff since I was a kid, so it's always been a big interest to me. I still see stuff daily. But no, I work on another website, and we bought a night vision camera for it, and I was like, I want to use it for a paranormal investigation. And my business partner over there, Matt, was like, fine, you go, because he's scared.
Dude, he's not scared, he's tired. He works.
No, he's scared. He won't watch scary movies like you. But I knew Pam and her husband James were into it, so we kind of hooked up, and a friend of ours was a photographer, jumped in, and her boyfriend jumped in with her, and we have a group of 6. We went up and did Crawford Road in Yorktown, which was insane. It was really awesome.
What's the history of Crawford Road?
Thank you. Anybody died there? A lot.
Maybe a few.
In which century?
Yeah, right. Crawford Road runs through Surrender Field. It's where the British surrendered in the Revolutionary War. There's also a Civil War battlefield. There's talk of KKK activity there throughout the years. We know of 3 murders in the 90s, and there's still to this day constant criminal activity out there. It's a very secluded, very dark road. Very dark road. There's no lights out there. But there are a ton of bugs.
Yeah, lots of tips.
Yeah. But we did a lot of research. You find a lot of the urban legends are the same as urban legends elsewhere. You know, they call the bridge that goes over Crybaby Bridge. You look up Crybaby Bridge,
Every
Google
state,
explodes.
Yeah, every state has their own versions of Crybaby Bridge.
Yes. But
Crybaby Bridge.
it's usually a variation of the same story. A woman had a child out of wedlock. They made her marry the man against her will. On her wedding night, she drowns the baby and jumps from the bridge. It's the same story.
There are variations of the story.
Yeah, there's some variation, but it's basically the same story at all these bridges across America. And they're all called Crybaby Bridge. We found nothing stating that a bride died there or drowned a baby there. There's also another woman who hung herself. They say KKK hung people from the bridge. We don't know, but of course we're not going to know that because it's not like they were like, hey, we just hung a bunch of people, you know. So
You never know.
Document it.
you never know, yeah.
Let's document all of it.
The documented stuff we do know of in 1990, there was a murder there. A guy met the dude the day before to sell him his car. The guy said, hey, bring it out here so I can see if my wife likes the car. And that was the last time he was seen. He went to go to show the guy's wife the car. Next thing they know, they found him dead in Crawford Road. The same murderer had killed a woman out there as well, who had testified against his brother in a murder trial in New York. And then in '96, the biggest one we were basically focusing on, it just seemed to happen. We just started focusing on it was Eric Nesbitt.
It really draws you in.
It
The
does.
story of Eric Nesbitt really, I know for me personally, it created a hunger inside that I've never really quite felt before. The first time I went to Crawford Road was before the investigation, and it was more just to kind of check it out and get the vibe of the place. And one of the first things I happened to catch was the cross memorial for Eric Nesbitt. He had been out at Crawford Road maybe 3 or 4 times before that, never saw it. I caught it immediately, saw the name, went home, and we began looking it up and, you know, trying to find out Eric Nesbitt, what's his story. There's many, many articles about Eric Nesbitt because of the circumstances of his trial.
The trial was crazy.
And the turbulent manner in which he was, of the whole scenario, it really drew us in. Especially me. I even found his family on Facebook. I never contacted him, but that's to the extent that I really felt connected to Eric.
I think one of the cool things too about this investigation on Crawford Road was that For me personally, I didn't dive into too much of the history behind it because I didn't want to be, I guess, influenced by the stories. But the evidence that we caught, especially surrounding Eric Nesbitt's grave, was really extraordinary.
Where's his memorial?
Or sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, it's memorial.
Don't want to confuse that.
Oh, so sorry. But yeah, no, for me, I'm always a hot-blooded kind of person. I hardly ever get cold. It takes a lot for me to be really cold, but when my husband and I were doing the EVP at his grave, it was just unbelievably cold over there. And I think that one of the really cool pieces of evidence, and I'm gonna let Cody talk to you guys about that part, but I think a lot of the evidence that we caught around the place where Eric's body was found was, you can't disprove it. You can't. It was amazing.
Corroborated his story. Totally.
Yes. Yeah, we the actual murder, he went to a 7-Eleven. He was a 21-year-old airman, a week away from getting his senior airman stripe. Stopped at a 7-Eleven in Hampton at about 11:30 midnight. These two men who have been doing drugs and drinking all day put him back into his truck at gunpoint, took the $60 out of his wallet, took him to an ATM, forced him to pull out 200 more, drove him out across the road and shot him 8 times. 16 bullet holes, yeah, all 8 were through and through. He was from New York, we know that, and he, it seriously drug us in. I mean, from the time that we saw that cross that first time, it was Google time. I mean, we were just constantly looking up stuff, especially her. She was really deep into the story, and it's just, I've gone back afterwards just to kind of say hi. Just, I felt like, hey, I'm in the area. I want to, go stop by and say hi to Eric. It's been that crazy for us. But when it comes to evidence, at the bridge, we caught a bunch of orbs. Now, we're never going to say orbs are spirits. We don't know what they are. They're paranormal. Paranormal is basically the unexplained, which is why, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a paranormal expert. You can't be an expert of something you can't explain. I mean, that's, you see it all the time. Oh, this guy's a paranormal expert. Not really. No, it's, you really don't know what I mean, you can have your theories. You're a paranormal researcher. It's still a science. Yes. But no, we caught a bunch of orbs there. One of them was extremely bright and giving off its own light. Just nuts. Like, that thing was, and that picture itself was crazy because I put the video together and I shared it with the group, and this is like an hour before we're gonna launch it. Our photographer calls me and goes, "That's not the right picture you used." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You used all the orbs in the video." She's like, "No, you didn't." And I'm like, we have a Google Drive that the whole group can look at. It's in the cloud. It's not on our separate computers. It's there for us to look at. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "No, there's another picture on the drive." So I went to the drive. The picture's not there. She takes a picture of her computer screen looking at the Google Drive, and it's on hers. She tried to send it to me 3 times before it would go through in text. And then she tried to send it to the group on our Facebook page. And it took a few tries to get it on there as well. This picture did not want to make it to me. We don't know why. It was freaking us out. So, and that one actually came about, if you watch our video on YouTube, I asked, "Are you tired of these kids messing this place up?" Because there's graffiti everywhere. And you hear the camera click and you hear our photographer Andy go, "Whoa, guys." And James and I walked over and we could see it on our viewfinder, and we're both like flabbergasted. It happened right after I'd asked the question.
And I think too, when you're talking about orbs and before we present evidence to you, like, oh hey, there's an orb, we're looking at pictures before and after to see if you can see like a progressive, like if it's dust or a moth or whatever. But what we caught, there weren't any photos leading up to, oh hey, that could be a dust, or a moth going by. It was like legit. One frame right before it wasn't there, it was there, and then it was gone. That's how we present our orbs.
Yeah, and the one we're talking, the big one we're talking about, it's not dust. There's nothing for it to reflect off of. It's floating in front of a tree. I mean, there's nothing for it to reflect off of. It's giving its own light, and it's seriously probably a good 6 to 8 inches wide. And yeah, the other ones you can see through, and there's one really big one too. It's probably 8 to 10 inches that we caught right by the bridge. And that was actually one of the funniest moments of the investigation. They were these two and one of our other investigators, Hank, were down at a creek. Can't remember what it's called. Baptist Run, the creek that goes underneath Crawford Road. They went down there to see if they could catch some of the running water. Usually can facilitate things. And so they went down there, and James, myself, and Andy were staying at the bridge. And we're noticing that she's taking these pictures that none of the orbs are coming under the bridge. So that wasn't really provoking, but I was like, hey, why don't you come under the bridge? There's something wrong underneath the bridge. There's some reason why you won't come under here. And I hear, who are you talking to? And I'm like, there's a park ranger on top of the bridge. Thought I was talking crap. Like what? Won't come under the bridge?
That's what he was scared.
Yeah. I asked them if they were scared to come under the bridge. And I was like, oh. And he, stopped us and, basically went through. Well, he just wanted to make sure we were out there being safe because there is a lot of criminal activity out there.
Did he ask you to blow into the?
No. They're actually used to investigators being out there. A lot of people go out there to investigate. Just because a lot of places you try to investigate, they do charge you. A lot of the big places, do charge you. So Crawford Road's a public road. You can go out there, and as long as you're not going up on the bridge or going out into the woods, because that is national park property, you're good. As long as you stay on the road. I made sure that one important thing when it comes to investigating, cover your butt. I called the York Pocosa Sheriffs. I called the park rangers. I made sure what we were doing was cool. The problem was park rangers didn't want us parking on the side of the road. Luckily, we had some friends whose company owns a business out there on the road about 2 miles from the bridge. We were able to park on their driveway. So that worked out for us.
I think too that with Crawford Road, if you're ever really thinking about investigating it, you want to go with a big group of people. Don't just go with like a couple of people. It's not safe.
It's very active with the living.
Yeah. It is not a safe place to be with just 1 or 2 people. You need to have a big group of people with you.
Yeah, it's people there. Sometimes we have cars flying by. It's a narrow road and it's 40 miles an hour and it's winding.
And there's no lights.
Not safe at all.
No lights.
People flying by us honking their horns and people
Flashing
slow
their
down as
lights.
they come by us and you're like, are they going to stop? What's going to happen here? I grew up in a downtown city. I grew up in downtown Houston. When somebody slows by you, you're usually ducking. It's no. But when we ended up, we walked down to the bridge. We got the orbs. Amanda had a Spirit Box app on her tablet, and we were kind of worried about the spirit. I heard things about the Spirit Box apps where you can sit it somewhere where there's nothing going on, and then you're hearing stuff when you record it on the app. So what we did was we set the Spirit Box app for white noise and set a recorder next to it, instead of using the recorder that comes with the app. We were just using the white noise from it. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything from that, but we did record as we walked the 2 miles back to the cars. It was about a half hour on both recordings. We were in 2 different groups again. This time it was myself, Andy, and Hank, and then Amanda, Pam, and James. And we actually caught some answers on theirs. Because there was we heard a yes, and then is it good is what it sounded like. And then James asked, what did he ask? Are you trapped here? And then we heard a yes. It was weird for Hank and I. Nothing came across on ours the entire time. We were a good ways behind them.
Oh yeah.
And the entire time, we hear a car idling behind us. There was no car. Nope. And we would hear it rev every once in a while and go, nothing. And then real cars would come by, and then after that car would leave, we'd still hear the idling behind us. It was just like something was just sitting there following us slow. and we kept hearing it the whole time. It was kind of weird. And they're all up there, we're up there just skipping them. Everything's happening. And we're sitting back there freaking out because we think somebody's following us, because out there you don't know if it's going to be somebody real or not.
It was funny on the walk back that you say that, because do you remember me telling you that I just felt really happy? And it's one of those roads where it's getting dark and you're like, okay, can we speed walk a little bit faster to get back to the car? Because, oh my gosh, all these cars are coming. And it's a little bit creepy when you hear the park ranger say, well, you know, gangs are coming out here. So it's like speed walk time. But the whole walk back, like halfway through the walk back, and it was about 30, 40 minutes back, I told Amanda and James, I'm like, I feel really, really happy. And it's not that endorphins of like walking and, you know, exercising, but like just overwhelming joy. So for some reason with our group, and I don't know why you guys attracted the
We were
hideaway
blocking it from
little,
you guys.
you were being stalked. But I was really happy. I felt like we were protected, that whatever spirits were out there were really happy that we were there. So that
There's 2 battlefields. How many soldiers are out there?
there's a lot.
Well, here's the thing, though. It was during the Revolutionary War, though. It wasn't there was no battle.
It was surrender field, so that's what it's known for. That's where the British surrendered to George Washington.
They actually signed it.
There was
Signed it in the Morehouse.
never an actual
Oh, so it's
battle
just a
fought
Civil
there.
War battle.
Civil War
Even the
battle.
field hospital, I think, was probably like a good 10 miles away from where we were. I would say.
Oh no.
No, more?
It was closer.
It was closer than that?
Yeah.
Even though there was never an actual physical battle there, there's not to say that people didn't die on those grounds during that time.
Sickness, soldiers still, sick. The soldiers they had brought with them that were injured, probably died there. I mean, medical wasn't awesome back then. So, but no, once we
First
got,
ladies they've seen in a while.
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why they were really happy.
A lot of that too, though. I think with the soldiers and what goes on like that, I think a lot of that is residual, and that's the differences in hauntings. There's residual hauntings, which are basically it's a tape playing on a loop. It's the same thing happening over and over again. They don't know they're there. They're just going through the motions over and over again. I was talking actually, I think it was Matt. We were talking about the movie High Spirits with Liam Neeson and Daryl Hannah, and they kept going through the same motion over and over again until somebody broke it, which I don't think you can do. But, and then there's intelligent hauntings, which will interact with you, which is a lot of what we caught.
That is a lot.
And then there's the ever-dreaded demonic, which sometimes you don't know if it's demonic. Sometimes they're like playing with you. You never know. That's I guess that's for the experts to decide.
This is a good question that I haven't asked you too. As far as demonic haunting goes, I'm in the camp of I don't think that a spirit can harm you or touch you without your, well, not touch you, but cause any direct harm. But do you guys think that the demonic spirits are out there and they can like possess you?
Yep.
And I don't think you have to necessarily invite them in. But I think if you don't set yourself up for protection,
They're not really spirits, they're
Yeah.
Right.
a human.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have negative spirits.
Oh,
like that,
absolutely. But all of these, the ghosts that
Yeah,
raped
they-
me and attacked me, I'm not in,
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that theory.
There's something else.
So what's like a way to defend against sort of the more aggressive type spirits, or you just kind of out there mercy?
Everybody's. I mean, whatever your religion is, if you have one or not. There's also all kinds of protection stuff out there you can find. There's the basics, salt and. Or you can go the Winchester's way and get the tattoo. But
On the ridge?
yeah, there you go. But no, there's a whole lot of different protection things. A lot of it depends on your belief. A lot of it depends on you, your conviction. Do you want it gone? If you want to get it gone, there's ways you can do it. Supposedly, I don't know that for a fact. I've never tried to get rid of a spirit. Well, I have, but it was more using my personal beliefs, things like that. Like I said, I actually just wrote, because we're all different in our investigation styles. Like you said, Pam didn't want to go in and go into history. You know, and that's what's great about us, is we don't want to step on each other's toes. We want each other to investigate the way we do. Go ahead. Different ways to communicate. You know, there's communicating directly, like to sit and have a conversation, is difficult without opening other doors. I would never, ever, ever tell someone to use a Ouija board, because you do not want to bring that on you, because you don't know what you're opening the door to. Now, using digital recorders like we did, you're not going to necessarily have a conversation, but you might get answers to your questions.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to, and then you can always go back and say, hey, I heard you last time, you know, we got the message. What more do you have to tell me?
There are two. There is a digital voice recorder that you can use where you can actually listen to the audio. You can have someone asking questions and then you can listen to it directly. I think whenever you're trying to communicate with spirits, one of the things that I would always tell you is that they're just people. They're, you know, you're made of energy, they're made of energy. They had lives, they had loved ones. So just talk to them like you would talk to a friend or someone that you're meeting for the first time.
So, if you're saying you're doing this kind of thing and you're like tense or scared or something, will that affect how they talk to you?
It can,
Yeah.
Like,
honest
will
to God,
it-
it can.
Will it scare them away or make them more aggressive or something like that?
Typically,
It depends on them.
exactly, it depends on what kind of spirit you're dealing with. For the most part, if the spirit can sense that you're afraid, they're not gonna contact you. They don't wanna scare you, they don't wanna hurt you. And so if you open yourself up and it is something that you're interested in, you really you can go into it with a trepidation, but don't go into it with a outright fear, like if something happens to me, I'm gonna flip and run. You can't go into it like that, or they're just not, they're not gonna communicate with you that way.
If they feel you're scared, they don't want to scare you further.
You know, there's a metaphysical saying, as above, so below. So if you want to look at it like energy forms can take many things, and like a dog, if you act like a victim, the dog's going to view you as a victim.
Yes.
So if you can puff yourself up and feel like you're in charge, that's a way better position to be in any relationship.
I think an important thing to do when you're going into an investigation is
Confident, not
go in
necessarily
with an open mind and without expectation.
Because they will conform themselves to your expectations.
Yeah,
You
go
expect
on.
them to be aggressive, that's exactly what they get.
Yep, go in without expectation. Go in there, because the thing is, you're not always going to catch something on a paranormal investigation. That's what the shows don't tell you.
Yeah.
You're not going to always catch something. Those episodes don't get aired.
That'll make for good TV.
Because if you go in without expectation, you're not as disappointed at the end when you don't catch anything. The fact that we got 11 EVPs in less than 2 hours at this place is baffling to a bunch of people who've seen the video who are paranormal investigators and have been doing it a lot longer than we have. We got emails and Facebook messages from people wanting to join our investigation now because they're like, there's something with these people that spirits want to talk to them. And so we got people jumping up like, hey, let's get with these guys and see what they can pull out of the places we've been to. But
So it's better to be kind and open-minded when
yeah,
All
I think
the
it's better to be
time,
open-minded in
absolutely.
anything you do in your life. I mean, that's the best way to be. But yeah, open-minded, yeah, because you never know you never really know what's there. We don't really know what's there. I know we caught some stuff that had to do with what we were asking, and we're hoping it was. We were hoping we caught some stuff from Eric. We really are, because that would be amazing. But we don't know that for a fact. It's still unexplained. We just know we caught stuff that wasn't us. And we went through it. There was a bunch of stuff that we could have used if we wanted to be that group, that we could have easily said, oh yeah, no, that wasn't us. I caught a laugh.
Right.
And it was James was walking, they were on the walk, and James said, we got a couple Southern ladies here, because James is a Yankee, and we were talking with Civil War people. And he goes, we got a couple Southern women here, and then you hear, and I was like, oh crap! And I put it on there, and then Pam's like, dude, that was me.
That was me.
Now, we I was like, babe, I know it wasn't me, because I was in that group, I was with Pam and James. And I was like, and it doesn't sound like Pam to me. I really don't want it to be Pam.
I have a very distinct laugh, so sometimes my child.
Yeah, it wasn't that laugh. It was more of a giggle, and it was like. But no, you know, so like with Eric, when we split into groups of two, we split into couples. Because one, I think that would help the energy. You know, when you got the couple together who have energy together. So when Amanda and I were up there, it was kind of crazy. We were, you know, doing our session, we were asking questions, definitely showing our respect. You know, he was a service member, and you know, he was brutally murdered. So we were asking questions, and I said, I know your family really misses you. And Amanda said, yeah, your mother married your brother Nathan. And about that time, I felt someone walk up behind me, put their entire body against mine. Arms, everything. And I'm standing there holding the recorder like this, and I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. I couldn't move, and I started crying. It was nuts. She's flipping out.
Presence.
Yeah, she was flipping out because she knows I don't just cry on the drop of a dime, and I couldn't help myself. And if you actually listening to the whole recording, you can hear her say, "Just breathe, just breathe." You can hear the fear in her voice, not really fear, but more of worry. Yeah.
There's definitely a concern there, because I really, going into it, I am a pretty cat to an extent. But it was just you definitely got a different feeling there. Not a feeling of fear, but of just an immense sadness, because something so tragic happened at that spot, and a young man was taken entirely way too soon.
So
Then to, you know, I really more so thought that anybody was going to be the scared one or have the feelings of dread and regret or whatever it may be. Because I do have an empathetic nature. You're happy, I'm happy. You're sad, I'm sad. So I really thought I would have picked up more of the energy from location that he did.
So it wasn't long after that I asked if you have a message for your family, and we heard believe. And actually, we didn't catch it. We heard nothing the first time we went through the evidence. And Pam actually thought it was leave at first.
I did.
And then I went back and enhanced the audio further. And all we do to enhance the audio is volume. You know, that's all we do. We don't do anything else to it. And then I heard the believe in it. And I was like, because at first when she said leave, I was like, oh man, I don't want to hear that. But I heard believe, and I was like, oh, awesome.
That's one of the cool things when you're investigating evidence, and if you're really starting to get into doing the paranormal stuff. One of the cool things that we did that I loved is that everybody listened to the evidence on their own. Everybody wrote down notes, and it wasn't until everybody was done that we submitted it, so there wasn't any, oh, hey, look at what I caught here. Oh, yeah, that's what we heard, because you're influencing people with the evidence that you heard, you know, because everyone's going to hear and see things very differently. But the belief that we caught, it was clear as day for us. And then there were some things that you guys caught, and I'm like, nuh-uh. So I went back and I listened to it, and you bump it up and you just repeat it. And if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. But that's one of the cool things when you're really looking into evidence. You don't want to say, hey, look here, I heard somebody say leave. What I did is I said, it was at this time period, at this time stamp that I heard something. Do you hear anything? And that's really important when you're investigating evidence. And then that's exactly why I did not do a whole heck of a lot of research when we went up to Crawford Road, except for the bare minimum, because I did not want to be influenced by the urban legends, by the ghost stories, by the newspaper reports as to what had happened there. I wanted to have my own unbiased experiences there.
And so that was what we caught on ours. And Pam and James followed us. And there was one unknown, we can't really tell what it's saying. It was like she had paused in the middle of a sentence, and you hear something, and then went right back to talking, and we couldn't figure out what it was saying. But then, the big one they caught, I was sitting there, and it got to the point where I wasn't hearing anything, and after a while of listening, just stuff, you start to fade out a little bit. And I'm sitting there and I'm starting to get bored, and then I went and threw my headphones down and I called her in because she was in another room. Were you in another room? Yeah. I called her in. I'm like, you have to come in here. I don't care what you're doing. Drop what you're doing. You have to come in here and listen to this EVP.
Drop the children.
Because, yeah, I don't care if you got kids. Well, she's not, well, our kids are too big to hold now. But,
I tried, they just won't let me do it anymore.
yeah. So I dropped my headphones. I put it back on, and I put it on repeat because I was like, there's no way that just said that. Now, remember, we're at Eric Nesbitt's memorial. This young man was shot 20 years ago. On their EVP, clear as day, they shot me. Clear, I just got chills thinking about it because we have all the EVPs over at our table. You can come over and listen to them. We got the headphones set up. But yeah, that one just blew me away. And they came back and heard the same thing.
That was the coolest part when you were like, I heard something here. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I also heard something here. Do you want to tell me what it said? All right. This is what it said to me.
And then what was crazy was Andy and Hank, who came into Hank, I think, Hank came in the investigation last with Andy. We don't know much. We didn't know much about Hank going into it. He was. I knew Andy from. I work at Hunt Club Farm in the fall, so I knew her from there. And she's a photographer, and we needed a photographer, and she's really good at it, and she knows a lot about photography and about pictures, and looking at pictures and things like that. So we. I didn't really know much about his beliefs or even his, feelings towards the paranormal. So. And if he got any feelings from it as well. So so they got up there together and they caught 5 EVPs in their time there. Andy was constantly having problems with her flash. It would show up, we get pictures show up where it would just show the target, the laser pointer from her camera, but no flash. And there's one point where she's clicking pictures away, and she's like, no flash, no flash.
Now, mind you, the camera has worked at this point. We had already been out there for several hours. The camera had worked fine the entire night up until this point.
Yeah. So then she clicks, you hear her say something about it's not working, you hear it click, and then you hear it click again. On the second click, right as she says it, you hear, we think, we're not sure it's either flash or lost, but just real quick, flash. Right as she clicks the second one. And I was like, okay. Awesome. They also
Can I
caught.
have your attention, please? If you would like to participate in the library-wide photo scavenger hunt, please stop by the front desk at 1 o'clock.
She was talking about the problems with her camera. You hear a female voice saying, because of me.
1 o'clock at front desk. Thank you.
And we were, okay, cool. It wasn't any of us, but you just hear, they were talking about, I don't know why it's not working. I just don't get it. Because of me. Then there was, not the last one, but what was, what did they have before that?
They had the one that we couldn't figure out what was said.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah.
There was Eric. When the voice actually said Eric, you kind of hear K, and then you hear Eric. The last one they got was pretty cool too, because it was the last one they caught. I can't remember exactly what question they asked, but you hear right after it a female say he's gone. And that was the last we heard of anything there. And it was really wild going back through all this, because none of this we heard with our own ears. And we know who was there and how far away we were. And, like that he's gone, somebody said, well, you sure that wasn't Amanda? And I said, there's no way. We were on the other side of the trees, and that was right next to the mic, and it had more of a digital sound to it. So you could tell it was just coming straight through the recorder. We're working on different ways to investigate new. You see over the table, I got a toy that I'm playing with. It's a thing to teach kids to play with them, build circuit boards. It's safe for kids, but it's got a bunch of lights, and you can plug stuff into it to make the lights do certain things. So you can plug a microphone into that. We have our microphone plugged into it, and it's an omnidirectional microphone, which means you got to be right on it. And if you speak into it, the lights change. So we can set that with a recorder right next to it, and we'll know if something's talking into our recorder. Or there's a button on there you push, it makes a little thing fly up into the air, which the kids are loving today. They will spend all day at our table pushing the button.
Pushing hard too.
Matt was doing it too.
Hey, kid.
I'm telling you, it's the coolest toy ever.
But you know, I was driving home and I'm like, I wonder if we could use that stuff because there's so many lights and so many little touch things you can do on it. And the button for the little spinner is not hard to push down at all. So we figured, you know, if they can go on Ghost Adventures and turn on a flashlight, they can push this little button, make this, and the thing glows in the dark too, so it's perfect for what we're out there doing. But yeah, it's just, you know, there's so many different things you can do. I have a friend who's an investigator as well who built his own EM pump, which is electromagnetic field pump. He can make this thing pump energy in the air so that spirits can use that energy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Have there been any encounters that you had like a bad feeling about, like you had to bail out because you felt like something bad was about to happen?
Not as a group, this was our first investigation, Crawford was. I have in the past, and it wasn't necessarily, you know, I wasn't even investigating. Like I said, I've seen stuff my whole life. And the scariest thing I think that happened to me, I told Matt about this. I was 13. I was at home by myself in Houston. I was sitting in a chair watching TV, and there's nothing behind us but a field and a warehouse. And the warehouse is way past the field. And I see a light in the window behind the TV. And the light got bigger, and things started rattling, and it got bigger and bigger, and I heard a horn, and it stopped. And I'm sitting there white knuckled in this chair, freaking out. I had no clue what it was, and went back and did research, and there was a train derailment through there. There used to be a train track that went through my neighborhood. But
I'm just curious about the EM pump. Is that more like an ion generator or sort of more like a pantograph?
no, it pumps electromagnetic
The next slide,
field. It makes its own electromagnetic
contact
field.
with the Society for Creative Anachronism will be in the YMCA yard at 1 p.m. The next
So,
slide, combat
yeah, I mean-
demonstration, will be in the YMCA yard at 1 p.m.
Go check them out. They're cool people, by the way. Awesome dude. They hit each other with swords. It's pretty cool.
She's already been out there.
Yeah. But no, you know, there's so many things you can build yourself. Because I'll tell you what, we went looking for stuff for equipment. If you go to these ghost sites, yeah, digital recorder there that you can pay $20 at CVS for, they're going to charge you $100. You know, I could, yeah.
There are thermometers at Lowe's.
Oh, yeah.
The IR
Yeah.
thermometers,
You can
$7.
You can rent, Lowe's and Home Depot, you can rent thermal cameras.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to know. But no, I mean, like,
Because it's for plumbing and stuff, you know,
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
what's crazy is I downloaded just a sound recorder app, just a mic app for my phone, just to record it. That's what I got my stuff on. I can sit, and that thing is so strong. When I first downloaded it, I turned it on, or I hit record just to see what it would do. And my father-in-law's on the other end of the garage, and I could hear him on it clear as day. He was just over there talking, didn't even know I was recording anything. So,
I do want to let you guys know the apps that you want to stay away from, not to throw somebody under the bus, but anything endorsed by Huff Paranormal.
Huff.
Huff Paranormal.
This is okay, for those of you who don't know who Steve Huff is, this is the guy who, the night of Prince's death, talked to Prince.
He
Just
also-
showed up at his house, you know.
Also, is somebody to have talked to Robin Williams, and he'll tell you in his videos that the reason that he can talk to these people and you can't is because he has a connection to the other side, and I'm like, what makes you so special?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't subscribe a lot to celebrity mediums. I won't call, you know, I feel and hear a lot of things, but I won't ever call myself a medium because I don't know why I hear and feel these things. You know, and I'm not going to charge $140 for people to come talk to me.
Or like an extra large.
Yeah.
But the thing with Huff Paranormal, he was currently promoting an app called Divination Box. And he was using
Oh, yeah.
This divination box app plugged into some other contraption that is of his own design. And apparently, whatever contraption he created is supposed to amplify the effects of the divination. So we're watching his videos on YouTube, and just out of curiosity, we went ahead and downloaded the divination app. Turned it on after, the YouTube video. We were getting the same voices in our divination app that he was getting on his YouTube video. Now, the divination app is it's like a take on this SB7 Spirit Box, which is basically surfing the radio waves, our local radio stations. It's like taking your tuner and flipping up through the radio station and down through the radio stations.
It goes
There
through
would be
really fast.
no
I mean, so
way
you can't
us
catch a
in
word.
Portsmouth, Virginia should be catching the same voices through radio channels that he has, however many
Yeah.
miles away. It just,
The apps are, the ones who promote themselves as spirit apps or ghost apps are the ones to watch out for. Because they're trying to get your money.
I was wondering about that, because
Yeah.
people would, like, even on Ghost Hunters, they were actually using apps on their phones.
That
and
was
like,
that was the Taps app that you can download,
Ah,
and it's got all their stuff on it
Yeah, see,
that
that-
they sell.
I thought
I
that was
downloaded
kinda
a
odd.
free recorder on my phone. It's sound recorder.
It's just
That's
a
all it
digital
is, sound recorder. It's, you don't have to spend thousands of times.
Yeah, no,
We
absolutely
literally
not.
spent gas money to do this trip to Crawford Road. We had a night vision camera that we had already bought for our business. They had a digital recorder they already had. I got a free app on my phone. We already had that camera that we're filming with right now. We had that one out there. That's what I did all the daylight stuff with. Go ahead.
Have you thought of anything thermal camera?
Yes, we'd love to use stuff like that,
Now you know.
Yeah, now we know we can rent them. Yeah, because those are expensive.
Extremely expensive, but you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to go out and do a ghost investigation, really. The way that James and I got started, he just gave me a thermometer and a digital recorder for Christmas one year, and that was it. And, I turned it on one day in our house, and we caught something within like the first 10 seconds just saying my name. It was
I'm not
great.
allowed to turn it on in our.
That's all.
But you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to go to someplace exotic. You can just get, and the other thing too is that we did an outdoor investigation. I would caution you that if you're gonna do an investigation, outdoor investigations usually are a little bit more difficult because there is a lot more room for contamination just because you've got cars and you never know who's, in the woods or
Yeah.
behind that building that you're outside at. So an indoor investigation would be good, but you don't have to go anywhere really fancy to do a ghost investigation.
Just make sure you're allowed to be there. Don't get yourself, because we saw one, there's a radio tower out there. And there's a radio, the tower has a building to it. We know who owns that radio tower. It is active. I actually used to work for that radio station. I know who goes out there. We saw a video on YouTube of these kids investigating the abandoned radio building. Those kids were not supposed to be in there. That was not abandoned whatsoever. It's just not manned 24 hours a day.
Can a radio tower kill you if you touch it?
I don't know, we have guys that climb
Stop
it.
that
Yeah, but
demonstration.
if you touch the
We'll
thing when
begin
they're
at 1
transmitting.
o'clock
I don't know.
in the YMCA yard.
No. But I think we should go and wrap this up so that
Any
SCA
other
can.
questions you guys have?
We'll begin at 1
Yeah, if
o'clock
anything
at
else,
the
you guys can
front
come over to our
desk. Thank
table.
you.
Like I said, we have the EVPs. You can come listen to them on the headphones, and you could hear. And we got a TV up there showing our the orbs and everything like that. So stop by and see us, and make sure you watch our video on YouTube. AskParanormal.com, AttractionChasers.com. And thank you guys a lot.
Thank you.
Could be anybody.
Spirits are people too.